Good. This is Marcus the Fingaz. Back at it again, entering another competition. So I've been trying to enter some contests, get a lot of these posts out there, a lot of videos of behind the scenes of how I make music, produce music. So this one is actually hosted by BeatStars. Shout out to BeatStars. They're hosting the first Cookup competition of 2020. This is January 2020. So what they did was they provided some dope samples by some of my favorite producers, some of my favorite YouTube producers, including like Simon Servita, Gummy Beats, DJ Pain One. So some incredible producers. It's about 5 or 6 producers provided sample packs for this competition. Sent it out to producers, asked us to flip it, and then record a video of us flipping it and what we did with it. So for this competition, what I did was I used 2 samples. I used one by Gummy Beats. Here's the original right here. So what I did was, I'm in Beatmaker 3 here on the iPad. So here is the chops I have. I threw some EQ, taking out some of the frequencies I really didn't want from my beat. Threw on this Motley, one of my favorite filter delay plugins by Clevgrand, and then put some reverb after the delay just to add some space to it. For this sample, I think I pitched it down. Actually pitched this one up 3 semitones, and then I stretched it to fit my tempo that I wanted. So the tempo of the original was 84 BPM. I stretched it so that I actually sped it up so that it could be 108, which is the tempo of my track. So here's what I did with the Gummy Beats sample. And then you hear that delay coming on after. So that's what I did with that. The other sample I used was by Simon Servita. And that one, the original sample was actually in the same key as a Gummy Beats sample, which is F sharp minor. But I ended up pitching this one the opposite direction. So with the Gummy Beats sample, I pitched that one up. And then with the Simon Servita sample, I pitched that one down. So here's the original. Again, a dope sample. Some effects I threw on the Simon Servita. I threw some Quattro mod to sort of add some width to the sample. Some EQ, taking out some unwanted frequencies. Added some more width with this wider plugin here. Motley with delay filter again on this one, and then some that going into reverb, and then to saturator to bring up the output a little bit. So here is the flip of what I did with the Simon Servita sample. Yeah, so that's that. And then next up was the drums. I believe I used a kit from Drum Digger. Plugins I use on my drums in Beatmaker 3, FAC Transient, this Punch on Drums preset. I don't really change much there. FAC Maxima to add bring out some energy a little bit, and then Low Fly Dirt on the drums. This is my typical drum sort of channel strip plugins. And the sounds I used. So you hear some percussion.
The fingers on the beat.
And then that's my my tag. So the drums are actually from Drum Digger, one of my favorite. I have a lot of sounds here. Drum Digger, I believe I was using the February 2019 kit, so you can go through that there. I believe a lot of their drums are free. Check them out, Drum Digger. And I have a lot of their kits. They release kits almost every month, if I'm not mistaken. But here is what the drums are doing. We will start from right here. Yeah, so that goes like that. You hear some of that percussion in there. Next up, 808. Again, one of my favorite 808s. I believe it's still the 808 Jones. Yep. Using the 808 Jones. Here's the channel strip for that. Saturator, FAC transient. Again, low fly dirt again. Haze 2, adding some width on the low end of the 808. This DAW cassette by Cleve Grand, adding just some tape saturation there. And then going into sidechain compression so that when the kick hits from the drum, the 808 will duck under that a little bit. And here is what the 808 is doing. We'll start that here. So right now it might not sound like much, but in the mix definitely sounds dope. Comes out a lot. I added this grand piano. I do like, my favorite piano on the iPad is the Ravenscroft 275 piano. I think it's also a plugin on desktop computers or laptop computers, but when I tried to load it in this particular session, it kept crashing. So I just used the Beatmaker grand piano sound, and I just wanted to get some low piano at the end here. So this is what the piano's doing. So that's just at the very end of the track, just to add some energy as the track ends. I added this digital D1 Sequence Helix, what is the name? Sequence Helix Enchanted, sort of at the beginning of the track. So with D1 in Beatmaker 3, it sort of crashes the app. So I have to convert it to audio as soon as I record something with that app. It's a great app. There's an issue right now with how it works in Beatmaker 3, at least on my iPad, where it keeps crashing. So as soon as I create something, I convert it to audio. So here is what I did with that. So almost like a video game synthy type sound. And I'll go back to pure synth in a second, but the other digital D1 sound I'm using here is Whispers on the Wind, which I believe was some type of sort of like effect. And here is what that is doing. So just sort of like some ear candy with the digital D1 stuff. Next up is the pure synth stuff. Again, when I was opening the app in this session, it was crashing it, so I converted it to audio. But what I did with that was use this Movie Cellos sound to have sort of like a cinematic approach to it. And actually I'll blend that with this other one. I also use the full symphony sound to have a little orchestral cinematic, feel to it. And here is what those are doing. So that's basically it. And then on the master fader here, or master track, I have bark filter using this triple band preset here, and brought the output down by a couple dB, but it basically just adds energy to the whole track. I usually go either between bark filter or enhancer as sort of like mastering channels. For this particular track, bark filter seemed to work better to my ear. Maybe I'll do another video on showing like mastering. There are plenty of videos out there showing how to master, and there's plenty of incredible apps. I like to try to do it within Beatmaker 3, but there are a lot of standalone apps where you can master that sound really great, like Grand Finale, Final Touch, and a bunch of others. So that is basically it. I will play through it one time, and then we'll see how it goes. right. Thank you all for checking this out. Shout out again to BeatStars for the opportunity. Shout out to all the producers that provided samples. Just one more time, I want to go over all the producers that did provide samples for this competition. Dream Life, Beats by Danny, Gezin, Gummy Beats, Nasty, DJ Pain One, Simon Servita, and Kato. Kato on the track. So shout out to all those producers. For not only for this competition, but they're doing incredible things for up and coming producers and for producers as far as getting us sounds, kits, samples, advice, tips on publishing, licensing, all kinds of music related stuff. So shout out to them. Shout out to BeatStars. Thank you all for checking this out. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.